Hi, this is Rick Rogers from Doomsday Tank Models, getting out another video for you. It's been about, 10 days or so. I wanted to get out a video that is a update on some projects and also a movie recommendation. And I'll be discussing some things and love to get your feedback on some things regarding the movie and past projects, current projects. And although the video of me doing my spring cleaning my workbench was fun, wasn't very popular, so I guess it wasn't of much interest, so I'll keep that in mind for future videos. But thank you for continuing to tune in to my show, and I will endeavor to be more interesting in future episodes. So thank you very much, and we'll get into this. Okay, so I thought I'd start with a movie recommendation. This is a Russian film about the battles on the Eastern Front starting in 1941 with the German invasion of the Soviet Union, which they call the Great Patriotic War since they were attacked. It starts between two expert commanders, one German, one Russian, how they face each other for the first time. The Russian commander is a lone tank against a brigade of German tanks, well-seasoned troops, and you'll see the outcome if you get the movie. And then they meet again in 1944. Different equipment, different circumstances, and you get to see the outcome of that. I highly recommend getting this version. If you get the Blu-ray version, you'll get the English translation, which after watching this version, which is, if you listen to it in Russian and German, and then you just do the English translations, you get the correct dialogue amongst the actors playing these roles. If you get the English speaking translation, it is so simplistic and unenjoyable after watching the first time. So I highly recommend just have that pause button close if you don't read the subtitles very fast like I was at first, and just get what they're really saying. And this is a struggle among warring nations, but the individuals is what it comes down to, and what they had to do to defend their homeland. And you get to see both sides. So I highly recommend this. And it starts the first battle in 41. The German commander starts off with the Panzer III and the Russian commander, the T-34-76, which is my favorite tank. It has an American connection, the Christie suspension, which our American military officers had made the decision not to pick up for our military. So Walter Christie, being American, of course, offered it and to our government first, and they rejected it. So that's a shame. The second part, when these commanders meet again 3 years later, the Russians are now updated with the T-34-85. 85 millimeter gun versus the 76 he started with in 41. And then the Germans, their main battle tank goes to the Panther. And you get to see how that develops among the characters in the movie. And I hope you really enjoy it. I hope you, I don't know if Netflix has it or some other areas, but I highly recommend it. I think it's a good film about war. I think the Russians come out with great movies of World War II, and I think you'd really enjoy it. So I want to go on also. So I just also wanted to briefly go over this. Excuse me, why I like certain tanks of the conflict of World War II versus others. Now, obviously, The Tiger II is a very impressive looking tank. It's very intimidating, and it had the probably most highly successful cannon of the war, the 88 millimeter. However, that being said, I've never been a fan of this German design of overlapping road wheels. I think they are mechanics and tanksmen nightmare when it comes to fixing them on the battlefield. And you got to realize this stage of the war, I think the Tiger II made its debut shortly after Normandy landings. And, you know, when they got trapped in areas, the Germans were not winning the battlefield. So when you get an inside wheel, you know, that fails and you can't go any further, you have to take apart all of this to get to it. Tankers out there, correct me if I'm wrong, which I don't mind being corrected. That's if you don't take the battlefield with this kind of design, you're going to lose it. You just can't abandon it, because the tankmen are more valuable than the tank itself, because they have the experience to get into another tank and continue on the fight. Whereas Panzer III, Panzer IV, the road wheels are right there. I mean, if you have a failure, I'm sure they drilled this many times. You could change out that bogey. That's why they had extras on their decks, and could replace that bogey very fast. In comparison with this, it's just a nightmare. I've seen pictures of maintenance of these wheels, and it's just a nightmare. I mean, you have to be behind the lines or have taken the battlefield, and to be able to continue the fight after the repair. So this is also why I like modeling the German tanks with overlapping wheels now, without the mud guards or whatever you want to call them. I'm sure in the factories and on the design papers that seemed like a great idea, but really hampers, I would think, regular maintenance and repair of the suspension. Plus, from a modeler's perspective, from my perspective, I like showing the metal tracks. All these vehicles pictured here have the metal tracks. So this is a current one that I'm working on, as you've seen before, and I'll be doing some camouflage on that pretty soon. This is what is called the production turret, or Henschel turret. And this was I think roughly the first 100, what were called the Porsche turret. I understand that's incorrect, but it's been known as the Porsche turret. So the initial production was with this turret, which took longer to make because of its front, which I'm sure did deflect more shells, but this front right here was easier and faster to produce. So what are you going to do? You pick the faster and easier one, especially when your factories are being bombed. Anyway, I thought I'd point that out as part of the movie, but as in practicality, what my take on the bogey systems of German heavy tanks. So this is an update on my version, I'm going to say, of the T44 122. I just finished painting the sleeping bag, storage gear, boxes. On this side, you'll see I've made some scratches into the boxes and did some color variation to hopefully you'll agree this looks like closer to wood and a replication of 1/48 scale than originally came. These were smooth plastic surfaces that wouldn't have been convincing at all, but I think it turned out okay. I was happy with it. And I think I'll just take off the turret here. You see the storage gear better. The place where I get these, I can't remember the name. I think the guys out of Arizona makes these, and not the boxes. Those came from Tamiya. But the storage gear is molded very well. Very good detail, the buckles and whatnot. I did a little pin washing, not completely happy with it, but it does bring out the details. They can't all be gems, but I'm on the whole, I'm happy with it. And the camouflage that I chose for the turret, I'm quite happy with. So I'll be wrapping this up pretty soon, putting some decals on it and some final varnishing. So just to wrap up, I hope you take me up on that recommendation for the movie T-34. I think it's a very good rendition. If you like World War II movies, I think it rates up there in the top 5 for me. And it's very enjoyable. I must have seen it 10 or 12 times already. And I try not to watch it so much, or I don't want to see it in the next 10 years, but it's that good to me, and I hope you enjoy it. I hope you continue to enjoy your endeavors and your hobby. This is a great hobby, great for retirees, which I am. And I thank YouTube for the opportunity to start this channel and to get some videos out to everybody and to see what you think. My aim, once again, is to get modelers that once did this as a kid, or to get something going in your retirement years. You must do something when you retire, or I've heard so many stories of unhappy endings when people retire. So you have to keep yourself busy. And I think this is something that it's not worked for me anyway, and probably not for you either. It's just something that I enjoy. I think I enjoy it now later in life than I did as a kid. When I was a kid, I got together with a friend of mine, and we used to do little war battles in the sandbox with our painted models that we had built, and this was hand brushed. I can't imagine going back to that, although I have seen some very good examples of people do nothing but hand brush armor. I don't know how to do it, but it looks great. I couldn't do it. I need an airbrush. It's even for 1/48 scale, it's a vast amount of area to be able to paint by hand, and I just couldn't do it. So right or wrong, good or bad, I enjoy the airbrush much better than hand painting. And of course, you know, the stowage that I showed you has to be done by hand. That's pretty obvious. It's just not my favorite, but when I get around to doing it, I really enjoy it. So thank you. Please like and subscribe and hit that bell till it turns black so you see all my content if you wish to see all my content. And I hope to keep putting these out on YouTube and give you something to enjoy and watch again, and look forward to another one. So thank you for being part of my audience. Really appreciate you. Thank you. Bye-bye.